Can you hear? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I pressed the
Good.
wrong button because I'm using my mobile phone, and I got, the first
Yeah.
choice was to leave the meeting, and I left it.
Okay. Yes, the program, the basic difference with other programs is that we have not only the intellectual stuff that we teach, but also we emphasize transformation. In other words, the practices. That is part and parcel. We want our graduates, especially the PhDs, to have a personality that would be authentic and capacity to non-local empathy, not only empathy of the thinking, theory of mind kind of empathy, but empathy by directly communicating with non-local feelings. In other words, expanding heart and all that. We want every student to have that experience, what it is to empathize with someone with non-locality. This, in our calculation, will change the whole practice of healing and psychotherapy. And especially for people who are interested in those two fields, empathy is essential. Even for people who are into business, that is our third priority. Even for them, we think that it is the best if they too get some transformation. Although for them, empathy practice is not as important. But still, some non-local experiences, how to project enthusiasm in an authentic way, those things are important. So this is the main difference. Otherwise, the courses are different, of course, because we emphasize stuff that ordinary, regular, either psychology or biology-based approach cannot teach because they don't know how to teach, such as love, higher intelligence, archetypes, and so forth. So we have some special courses. We also have some regular courses, and there what we do is that we teach the conventional materialist approach. We also compare that with our approach and point out the differences and emphasize that you are going to get much more creativity in our approach than you are used to. And this is why partly we need our students to be devoted and pay time for transformation. Other than this, our program is quite flexible. So out of the 3.5 years, or if you need longer of that period, only the first year is required. After the first year, you will be taking a exam sort of thing, which is really a presentation of your thesis idea at that moment, research ideas at that moment. Does not have to be the final subject of research. We call it the presentation of a synopsis of what you plan to do. After you pass that, then you are free to choose your subjects that you want to research on, and you will take courses only according to your choice. For example, if you choose the field of psychology, then you can choose your own psychology-oriented, transformation-oriented courses. On the other hand, if you choose business, you take the business-oriented courses. So there is a flexibility, and from the second year on, you can also take on some research credits. This is the way it's set up. And research can start immediately if you are very, very qualified. I was very enthusiastic seeing your resume or your letter. I haven't read your resume, but just reading your letter. So indeed, if you want, you can start talking about research fields immediately. We have that kind of flexibility. In other words, we want to be want you to develop a sense of belonging to this movement. The movement is quantum activism. We call it trying to change the world along with changing yourself. Okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I was also wondering because I work as so I'm not a psychotherapist, though I have a background in psychological counseling. And I'm also not a business person, but I work with businesses. So I teach mainly leadership, I coach leaders, and I define leadership as a psychological and a social phenomenon for the sake of win-win solutions, like having win-win for the organization and also for the employees and also for the stakeholders. And I was wondering which program is suitable for me because the psychology course is really interesting, but I'm not interested in schizophrenia, in the healing schizophrenia and other mental diseases. And the business course, I'm just a bit afraid that it will be a lot about economics, which I don't have a clue about. So it's mainly like organizational behavior.
Okay, so quantum economics is the macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is not like economics. You never have to calculate a balance sheet or anything like that. Macroeconomics, more of the philosophy of economics. That's what we teach because that's where all the quantum modifications come about. We don't care about microeconomics, which has all the details about all the profit making and all that stuff. That's not our primary objective. Yeah, and as I said, we have enormous flexibility. You are the first student, I think, or maybe there is one more, who are interested in both business and psychology. We want you to definitely apply the psychology of happiness to business, psychology of emotional intelligence to business. So we'll prepare a list of courses for you that will prepare you adequately for both fields. And I myself, who will be one of your research guides, very much interested in combining both of them. So it's good. You will be happy to join us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Also, I had questions around attendance because the information says that the online courses have to be attended, and during the daytime, which is like in Spanish time, usually from 8 to 4, I'm working with clients. And I'm pretty fully booked for the autumn, and I'm also traveling and working in many countries. So do you record the courses? Can I watch the replays? How do you mark attendance?
Yeah, we do record, and recording is an option. However, the personal presence is very important because then you can participate, and we want you to participate and feel to be part of the community. Spain is how far away? Spain is 3.5 hours from. Mainly, our time is divided between about 4.5 months in India, about 3.5 months in Brazil, and rest of it in Romania. When we are in Romania, it should be no problem to arrange the time so that you can attend. Like I think from Romania, you have probably a difference of only 1 hour. Now, that's easy to arrange. For 4 o'clock, you are off, so we can arrange it to.
Sorry, I don't think we change the times, because there will be problems for the people in India. So that time that we chose is very good for everybody,
Yeah, 7:30.
There will be very few exceptions. And the thing is that Leda is very busy with other commitments anyway,
No, but what I'm saying is if 7:30 India time, then what is the Romania time? That's 5 o'clock, right? Okay, yeah. So 5 o'clock is 4 o'clock of your time. So they should be able to attend.
So I'm in Romanian time zone because I'm usually in Lithuania. Of course, I finish usually my work at 5:30 Romanian time. So that's when I finish with the clients. Okay. And sometimes I will be also traveling. So if you
but it's going to be just a few which will be your webinar, So only the webinars that are in your semesters, those you can prioritize. Maybe 3 webinars per month,
Yeah, try
Okay, so
try
it's
to
not like
attend.
every day.
Try to
Yeah.
attend as
No,
many
no,
as
that's
you can.
Saturday, Sundays only. So Saturday, Sundays, about 3 webinars per month, you will have your own. But besides this, there will be pre-recorded video series. So that you have to plan your time.
Okay.
You need to give it like 4 hours per week minimum of study. You know, if you organize yourself well, you can do it.
That sounds really good. Thank you very much. And I also had questions about, I'm not interested in Harvard, so I'm not interested in very famous universities, but what is the international recognition of the Jaipuri University? I didn't find it in the ranking system usually. So, you know,
No,
if I do a PhD with you, yeah.
they won't be ranked, but it is equivalent to all the Indian. In India, there is not much of the grading of the universities that are commonplace in the West. What they do instead, the government has an affiliating institution. They very thoroughly examine every university's curriculum, and they give you permission, affiliation to teach. So every university in India is completely equivalent in terms of degrees. All degrees that are from any university is pretty much equivalent. So there should be no, grading is just not the style. And of course, you know, who would grade us? It is so new, this style of teaching and this style of content is so new that you wouldn't be able to grade anyway. You have to really make your decision on the basis of what you want to do and what you would like to do and what you want to accomplish in the world. If you are into purpose, if you are serving meaning, if you want your life to be meaningful, all I can say is that we have a good program, it suits you, and we'll try our best to have you exactly satisfy what your goals are.
That sounds really good. Thank you. But are you saying, Amit, that it will, so if I get a PhD with your university, that would be internationally recognized?
This is also internationally recognized. This I can guarantee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you.
So,
and,
sorry, Leda, it's in the private sector. Yeah. So it's a private university, and as usually, it's going to be recognized in the private sector in other countries. But it's according to every private institution to recognize another private degree in other country. You know. So some organizations will get it, or again, it's according to you. You have your master degree, you can always just put it after you as a degree. You can say that, but in order to be working with other government affiliated institutions or other private institutions, it's up to those institutions. You know.
Okay, so you mean if I, for example,
all the private universities, you know.
But usually, private institutions will much more readily recognize your degree than government institutions. Government regulations have all kinds of bureaucracy in it. So you should also we should be frank about telling you that. Because the University of Jaipur themselves, they emphasize that if you want a job with the government of India on the basis of the degree that we have so avant-garde, they do not have any recognition of quantum science. So government institutions may give you trouble.
Okay. So I do teach for a private university, but yes, thank you very much. So I do teach at a private university, but I never asked them if they would recognize. I think that's not my primary reason here. I also have questions. Do you have already some people who have expressed their interest in the PhD program, or who would be my team members, group members?
Yeah, Balajina can send you a whole list of people who are PhD students currently. You can talk to them about their experience, certainly.
Yeah,
we encourage them.
Okay, that would be great. And also, I was not just in the ex-students, but I would be interested who are the current students.
Of course. Sure.
My classmates. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Any other questions?
Yeah, I also had a question around how much of, because what I like in your approach that you're trying to really connect the spirituality and the science. And I think I'm kind of disappointed with both. I'm disappointed with very materialistic science, which I think is very biased, but also with religions. So how much you really connect these two, and how much is based on Oriental philosophy and spirituality versus science?
I strongly recommend that you read my book, Self-Aware Universe. I don't know if it out in, okay, in Spanish, I think the Everything Answer book is out in Spanish, available in Spanish. Or Science and Spirituality is another book, or Quantum Doctor is another book that is available in Spanish. You read one of these books and you will have a complete notion of what we call science. Science for us is dogma-free. Materialist science we don't call science. So for in our book, that's pseudoscience, because materialism can never be experimentally verified. And there are zillions of objections to it. Spirituality itself, of course, is a huge objection. Values, another objection. Spirituality, likewise, is not religion. Spirituality to us is the esoteric spirituality, esoteric traditions in all religions. The spirituality is completely different than what they teach in exoteric churches and sermons, and that's dogmatic. But the esoteric spirituality is relatively dogma-free in all cultures, and especially the Eastern cultures. For example, in Hinduism and Buddhism or Taoism, you do not find any sign of any dogma, complete open-mindedness, verify it yourself approach. Nothing is a dogma. Whatever you verify is what your truth will be. So they are completely aware of the scientific approach. And this is why I can claim with authority that science and spirituality are integrated with the quantum science approach. Quantum science, you will find, is a very special science where a wide doorway, wide window is open for the introduction of this one missing thing in science, which is impossible to approach with the way that we do science, namely mathematics. But quantum mathematics is so special because it talks about waves of possibility. Then this question of choice comes in, and it's clear how consciousness has to be introduced in the world. So it is a very special gift to us that we are discovering quantum science right at this moment, and developing a science based on consciousness, a science that is appropriate for human beings. Otherwise, we are stuck with philosophy or just the mechanical approach, machine approach to human beings, which does not describe the human being potentialities. It does describe the human being's proclivities, because we have to evolve from animals and a lot of those habits remain. That's undoubtedly true. We have a lot of machine in us. But beyond the machine, there are these potentialities. If we explore those, embody those, we can change. This is the view that spiritual traditions always have told us. And many people, thousands upon thousands of people have been transformed in this way. Otherwise, there would be no civilization. We would still be hunters and gatherers. So when you look at that, and when you look at the aberration that we call science today, scientific materialism, then it is very clear that intelligent people should choose the potentialities that we have, because they can directly explore them and see the validity of the idea that we really do have values which will make us human beings rather than stay at the animal level. So, the time has come for our type of education. It's not very common yet, but it will be. That's my belief, of course, but it is very founded on very solid practice. I am a practitioner of spirituality myself. All of our teachers are, Valentina likewise. So we practice what we preach. And we practice the integrated science and spirituality.
Thank you very much. I like you that you quote sometimes Erwin Laszlo. So he's someone whom I read. I don't understand everything when he says, but I really enjoy. And I'm Hungarian, just like him. So he is Hungarian by origin, and that's why I know him and I follow him. So I also have a question around, what are your requirements for your PhD students? So what would you like to know about me? What criteria would I need to meet?
Our minimum requirement is a bachelor's degree and master's degree for PhD students. Once you have that, our approach is that so long as you are interested in meaning and purpose, and so long as you see the importance of transformative education, you are very welcome to join us. Our education emphasizes intellect and emotions equally. We do not like very intellectual people, but they do not like us either. So we never really had to face I take it back. Once in a while, we would get a physics student who's really very intellectual, and after taking our courses, these one or two people, they drop out because they see clearly that we are not talking about the kind of physics, namely mathematics and rationality in our university, in our teachings. So with that, I think it should be clear to you that you and we are already in sync, so we don't worry much about it. But we do need your credentials to just satisfy the requirements of the university.
Yeah, I do have them. Thank you. And a couple of last questions. I saw that you have this quantum activism, which I don't even know what is it about, but if you could tell me briefly, and how do you see, in the future, how much it's going to be important for the world? How do you see impacting the world through the quantum activism you promote?
What we see, quantum activism, when we started the movement, it's very new. We only started in 2009. But it has taken off, especially in Brazil, and now we are establishing something as well in Spain and Europe. India, of course, is always the focus because of Indian spiritual ancestry. So the idea is that the world is in crisis. Anybody can see that. Just look at the weather, look at the climate. So that being the case, we think that the worldview polarization is the major cause of so much problem in the society, because we are not dealing with human potentials anymore. Religions have abandoned human potentiality long time. Now science has joined the same process. Ignore human potentiality, ignore the values. So in this approach, we feel that transformative education is very essential. Initially, quantum activism did not have that focus. We thought we'll directly take the case to people and just teach them to be activists. But we found after intense experiences in Brazil that we really cannot create in-depth transformation without much more dedication than the approach we are taking, namely weekend workshops and webinars and lectures and books writing. No, people cannot do it that way. We really have to educate people in depth. That's when synchronicities collided in such a way that I found that establishing a university-affiliated program is possible. We had to come all the way to India to do that. My base before was the United States, but there it was impossible. It was impossible even in Brazil, although now it seems like it may be possible in Brazil as well. But it was possible in India. We took the opportunity to establish the university. Now we are waiting for students, and that's our objective. We have to have education first. Before we can change businesses, before we can change practice of healing or psychotherapy or other subject, welfare of people, we have to educate people first. After education is at least progresses a little bit, then we can talk about activism in other areas. So right now, all of our activism is devoted to educating, especially educating the educators, healers, educating the business consultants, educate people who directly go into the middle of humanity and start propagating that there is a better way of doing things.
That sounds good. Thank you very much. And that's something I'm doing because I'm working a lot with leaders and trying to bring the deeper thinking and the human thinking into their everyday life. So I think my last question is about the faculty a little bit. So I have known Valentina and I have appreciated very much her work. And now I have seen you on the videos, and now I'm having this chance to talk to you and feel you. And I saw that there are maybe 3 or 4 more people. Can you tell me a little bit more about why did you choose them and their credentials?
Okay, so what happens is that we initially thought that we'll start in a Gurukula system. This is a special educational system that is prevalent in India, and only people who are quote unquote, I hate to use this ancient word because they are often misunderstood, but the word that often used is kind of enlightened or awakened and stuff like that. I don't want to claim any words, exalted words about myself or Valentina, but we believe that we had gone through lives and in such a way that at least part way, we know what we're talking about by direct experience and by direct work on our character. And so the teachers at the fundamental level will have to be this, because otherwise they won't be able to convey the message properly. You have to walk your talk, in other words, before you can teach. That's our policy. So in that way, Valentina and I are the only real teachers. But after starting the teaching, we also recognize that it is impossible to deal with so many students without some assistance. And assistants quickly came around because we have the teaching going on for now 4 years. So students graduating from our courses, they are naturally the assistants. So some of the names that you have seen, like Krishanu, he has a master's degree with us. He's now doing PhD research. He is one assistant. He gives lectures to elucidate stuff that I go on in a cursory way in my webinars. Valentina also. So additional teaching is done by these assistants. We have Philip Buyard, we have Krishanu Goswami, we have Anil Sinha, all in that. We have Atish Majumdar, who actually is a PhD in physics, but also serves as an assistant in this way. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And I will discuss with my husband what you told me today, because he's someone who helps me to think through everything. And if I decide to join, what would be the next steps?
The next step is to send your credentials, get yourself registered, pay the tuition, and school starts at August 1. Make the time that you have to devote. Valentina already mentioned it's about 4 hours roughly, plus the webinars, if you can attend them. That's Saturday and Sunday. And gradually acclimatize. We would also expect you to become part of our organization in terms of energies and resonance, archetypal values and purpose of life in all those respects. And that's it. I mean, it's extremely informal. We don't believe in formality much, and extremely informal. So you can do all this. One thing we would advise is, of course, if you make up your mind, register as soon as you can, because that gives us a feeling of numbers and stuff, which is important for making arrangements.
Yes, of course, and I would do it quickly. And then just in case, if at some point we decide that it's not for me, this program, then how is it the payment? Is it the payment is like, how I pay as I go. I know that I have to pay in advance for one semester, but would it be possible to, to drop out if we both notice that this program it's not for me?
We have a definite policy. If you drop out within 2 weeks, we completely refund your money. After that, there is a policy. So after 2 months, Valentina can tell you more exactly. After 2 months, I think refund policy is out because you have already used up. But you can pay semester by semester. You can even develop a payment schedule which simplifies it even further. So there are all kinds of ways that we take payment. We make it extremely flexible because we find often that people who are interested in transformation and spirituality, they are simultaneously salaried people who has to earn money every month and pay, and that's okay with us. We want you to become a transformed teacher, healer, whatever you want to be. That's our priority. Money is not our priority, and I will tell you this upfront. But of course, we have to have money in order to teach because it's expensive. Valentina and I more or less offer our job for free, but it is expensive otherwise. People need to be supported. There has to be a lot of internet activities, publicity. It is expensive.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that because I am myself in a very similar business. I train people, and all the money I get is from the training. So that sounds really good. Well, I don't know. I don't have more questions at this point. I wrote all the questions in the morning, and I think I have all my questions, what I wanted. I don't know what questions do you both have for me?
Yeah,
Well,
I do.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
Leda, because again, I told Amit, I showed him what you posted on the forum, in the Spain University. Always when you were posting, I was showing him, look what Leda said. And he was very impressed, and me too. And yeah, very, very good questions, really. And now I want to ask, what would you expect, from us?
I think I would expect a really good learning experience. So I'm interested, as I said, in combining science with spirituality. I would expect, when you talk about spirituality, also to give the science for that. So how is that proved? Because often I do believe in the empirical experience, because not everything is just a third person observation, because we have also empiricism is a valid data. But I think that's what I'm looking forward, because otherwise there's so many spiritual courses nowadays that you can go anywhere and do anything. And I think I'm always looking for something what is more original, what is more pioneering something. I'm never interested in things which are too popular and everyone is interested in. I would, expect support with choosing a research topic, with choosing a topic which has perspective in the future. And I just would expect, as you said, I like the informal part. That's something I would really enjoy, and why I'm looking for not for a Harvard or other university, but a university which is more like almost like partners in because we are all adults. So I respect you both a lot, and you have a lot of knowledge, but we are all adults. So no one is a kid and no one is an adult. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And really good. Really, what I like, Valentina, also that you're challenging us and you are making us think. So that's something I really appreciate, and I would like to have that deep thinking and experiencing experience.
Good.
Okay, that sounds really good. I will send it to you. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and it has been a wonderful opportunity.
Good.
Thank you.
Bye. All the best.
Yeah. Bye. All the best to you too. Bye. Thank you.